I want to start off by encouraging us as the church. I've just come from a meeting over at Parliament, a select committee meeting, where it was mentioned that the church's contribution to the economy in terms of social action is £11 billion. A couple of years ago, we, as Ascension Trust, was the organization that was an umbrella body for the organization called Word for Weapon. And on the streets here of London, over a period of 6 years, we removed something like 38,000 weapons from off the streets of London. It's been an interesting journey for me, because what I recognize is that we, the church, are really good at social action. It's in our DNA. It's part of our theology. Loving your neighbors yourself. The Samaritan, the story of the Samaritans. And yet we find ourselves in this position in the heart of our nation, our capital, where we have something like 119 people who've lost their lives. Last year I took a funeral and there was 750 people plus within a congregation in Croydon. A few weeks ago I took a memorial service for the family. Over 500 people gathered within that audience. And it was interesting because as I talked with the people afterwards, listen to what they were saying. We would like the church to help us navigate this awful time that we're in. I went to Jamaica on a fact-finding mission some 17 years ago, and I went to what was then known as a war zone in Trenchtown. And when I went into Trenchtown, I met church leaders, very ecumenical in their ministry and in their partnership. They had put aside their theological differences, they had put aside their traditional differences, and they were saying, it's only together can we impact our community. I sat and listened for 2 hours as they discussed which gunman they were going to visit and talk about the murder that was committed over the weekend, which member of their congregation they've had to relocate to a different location for their safety, how many guns were handed into them. And I listened intensely as they negotiated between the Don and the police about a ceasefire. Today for me is not, and I pray, another talking shop from the church. We're good at two things as well. We're good at praying, and I would expect all of us to pray. But we're also good at having a meeting. We're good at a meeting. But as the Bishop Carraway says, today's not a talking shop. Today's a day that is looking and seeking for answers. I believe that we have a significant role to play. I remind communities, I remind the police, I remind local authorities that even before government as we had them, you had the church that was there. And we've been here for a very long time. Through successive governments and politicians, we remain consistent. However, this challenge that we face today has highlighted a serious shortcoming within our Christian community. It has highlighted the lack of unity to be able to adequately respond to something that all of us are facing in this city, in our boroughs, and in our parishes. I believe that we can tackle this issue. I believe that we have two choices. Either working together, because as the Bible says, unity is strength. Either we come together to do a synergy and to work in terms of collaboration. Either we put our resources and our expertise and our resources together and deal with this problem. And I believe 10 years is too long. We haven't got 10 years. I believe that we need to be people who are optimistic. And we need to put our prayers into action, but bringing together our resources and our expertise that we could see a ceasefire, a stopping of these killings within months rather than years. The pain is too much. I was with a mother who lost her son 7 years ago, and 7 years later, she's still crying. I believe that we could do something that is powerful. And so for me, in terms of an outcome for today, I'm hoping and I'm praying, and I'm going to be sharing later on, that we have the answer in collaboration with our mayor, with our police, with local authorities, but more importantly with each other, to make a very positive and effective response. Thank you.